Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. So it's the first day of the year. I just came from work. I'm actually recording this at the cemetery, which I came to visit my grandma here. My grandmothers, both my grandmas are here. And I don't know, I got a little inspiration to do my video here. So I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. I was hoping I would have gotten another video in yesterday, but the day just got a little crazy. And to be honest, I, for once, went with the moment in terms of whatever came up. I wasn't saying no to things. So if I was asked, hey, can you pick this up or can you do that? Or, I mean, I had plans of finishing the laundry, organizing, doing my bed, taking a bath, getting ready for dinner because we had dinner late. But, and then I was going to do the video to post. But then I got a few messages, I got a few texts, I got a few calls, and normally I would say, you know what, I gotta go, or I'm doing something, or I would get to it later. But instead I said, you know what, let me deal with it in the moment. So I replied to the messages, I sent whatever things I needed to send in the moment, and it felt good. It just felt good. I was able to do my laundry. I was able to fold them, put everything away. I did what I wanted to accomplish, just not the video, which is okay. I'm not knocking myself down for it. But anyway, with that being said, one topic that I wanted to discuss was grieving. Grieving has a lot of definitions, I think, and it can actually be contributed to many different things, or stages of grief, or things to grieve for. So one of my friends had sent in Instagram a reel of Jay Shetty, which is someone I listen to consistently, and it was talking about, actually it was like a mix of all his all his podcasts, and it was different people that he interviewed, their answer to a specific question. So he asked all these different questions and people would say their answer, and it had to do with going into the new year. So one thing that I got out of it, I just got very emotional. One, and I couldn't understand why. And then the more I was listening to it, the more I realized that I got emotional because in a way I was grieving the person that I was going to leave behind in 2024 and the new person that I'm going to become in 2025. So it was like a mixture of strange feelings because I felt sad and happy at the same time. I felt sad because I was leaving that old version of me back there, and happy because I knew that the new version of me was going to be, or is going to be, so much better, so amazing, and so significant. So I got that from that video that I was sent. And that is just one aspect of grieving. Because again, I'm grieving the old me, and then there's going to be a new me. Then there's grief of loss of, and in both there is loss because I'm losing the old me, but there's grieving of loss, physical loss of my grandmothers that I lost. I lost my mother's mom 2 years and 3 months ago. Yeah. And then I lost my father's mom the year after the first one, but only was 8 months apart. 6 months apart. 6 months after I lost my mom's mom, I lost my father's mom. So it was a lot. It was a lot of hits that were very impactful for our family. And that type of grief was very different because my mom's mom was functional. She lived with her son, but she was very independent. She could walk, talk, move. She could do she ate by herself. She did many things by herself. She had help to assist her, but she was self-reliant. My dad's mom, she was in a nursing home. She was not. She was actually at that point, she was hooked up to a feeding tube, which she was on for a good 3, almost 4 years. So she wasn't responsive. We couldn't talk to her. We would visit her and we would talk to her, but she wouldn't reply back. So she was in a more deteriorated state, but she was alive. And when I lost my mother's mom, which was sudden because she got a stroke and then she was in the hospital, and 20 days later she's gone. She never recouped. She never came back. We were never able to communicate with her. Again, once she was in the hospital, besides like what my mom and her siblings say, they communicated with her by eye movement and touching her hands and her squeezing her hands and whatnot. But I did not feel that I had any connection with her or that she responded to me in any way while she was in the hospital. That's just my personal belief of when I tried to communicate with her. So when she went into the hospital, when we lost her, that was very drastic because it went from talking to her the day before she got her stroke to completely gone, drastically. So it was tough. It was tough. My grandma was a very strong woman. She kept our family together, and she was someone I admired and looked up to and still do. So it was really, really tough. It was tough for my kids, for me, for my family, for her children, of course. So it was a different type of grief. Then my dad's mom, it was also tough. But what was different is I felt, and I told my husband this a lot, I used to tell him, I feel like I'm going to get a call that my abuela Juana is gone, like that she's gone. And there were times that I would get like these feelings, and then I would get a call sometimes, and they would say, "Oh, your grandma ended up," because the nursing home she was in was also a hospital. She ended up in the emergency room downstairs. She had a stroke, or she wasn't eating, or certain things that triggered for her to go there, and then she would like recoup. But after I lost my mom's mom, I kept telling my husband, like, I feel like I'm gonna get a call about my grandma. And in that month when she passed away, which was in March, I don't know why I had a feeling. And then I did get a call, and they explained the situation, and she was in the emergency room. And I remember telling my husband, I don't think she's gonna make it through this one. And sure enough, she did not. But with her loss, it did hurt. It was sad. It was emotional. But I told my husband one time, I said, listen, I feel like I lost her so long ago because I couldn't communicate with her. I couldn't talk to her. I would go talk to her, but I was essentially talking to myself. So I felt like she had been gone for so long, and I felt like she's finally at peace, like she's resting. So my mom's mom died at 85, and my dad's mom died at 90. And they have very different lives, the two of them, but they were very amazing women, both of them, in their own way. So it was very significant on both losses, but they were just different types of grief. So that was what I was referring to with talking about grief and the different types of grief that there is. So anyway, with this being a new year, that was one thing I wanted to address. Leaving the old me, which I never saw going into a new year in that way. I never thought of what I was leaving behind in the previous year and what I was going to gain in the new year. So every time I always used to celebrate, oh, Happy New Year is great. This is going to be our amazing year. This is it. This is going to be the year everything, goes my way, or I open my new business, or I get in shape, or, whatever my goal or method is for the new year. This year was different. I don't know. I have my tribe chat, and I said in there, I said, I don't know why, ladies, but I feel it in my bones that this is going to be an amazing year. And I feel it because I feel that, again, like for the first time, I'm realizing that I have to leave something behind, and I'm going to gain something in this new year. And it was sad. Like I broke down and I was crying because I felt pain for leaving the old me. But I also felt happiness for gaining the new me. I felt like in the tears and in the crying and suffering and emotion that I was in, the crying was part of the pain of leaving the old me behind, but the crying was part of the joy of, like, it's happening. Like, this is gonna be who I was meant to be. Like, this is the year. It's gonna happen now. And that's why I said I feel it in my bones. I don't know. I've never had this feeling before, or this separation of leaving behind and moving ahead. But it's scary. It's frightening, like everything. But it's also exciting. So it's a little bit of both. And I went over again. I apologize for that. But that's it. That's what I wanted to discuss. That's what I wanted to talk about. Let's make this an amazing year. And you don't have to see it like I see it. Like, you have to leave your old you behind and your new you. Everyone's different. Everyone has different goals, different methods. But that's how this year I see it. I've never seen it this way before. But I do see it. So I grieved. I was grieving a lot yesterday. Actually, yesterday and the day before, because even the day before, and I'm just going to share this little story, which was Monday. It might have been Sunday or Monday. I went to the gym with my friend, like we always do, Marlene. And I left. I got in the car. I had to go to work. I remember I got in the car, and when I sat down, I closed the door. It was like a rainy day, but like the sun was trying to peek out. And as I look at my passenger side, my windshield and the passenger window is fogged, like completely fogged up. And it's completely separated. Mine is clear. My windshield window and my side window is completely clear, but the passenger side is fogged up. And I look over, and I thought it was weird, but I said, okay, whatever. I was in the car a little bit because I was responding to some texts or making some calls. And then I ended it, and then I pulled out. As I was pulling out, I remember I put the ventilation on max, and I looked over at the seat, and I just got this feeling and this emotion that my grandmother was there, my mom's mom. And I just felt like she's here. She's with me. Like, she's ending the year with me. And I felt in a way like she's grieving me. She's grieving the old me that I'm leaving behind, and embracing the new me that I'm going to be in this new year. So it was strange. It was emotional. It wasn't scary. It felt great, but it was different. But I did feel her, so I just wanted to share that. And then that same night, my cousin from Florida sends me a message saying of an image, and it was like this family near someone's like hospital bed, holding the hands of their loved ones, which was an elderly woman, and they said, and like I guess the statement said, I forgot exactly what it said, but you can tell that it was that they were grieving the grandma or the old woman. It could have been their mom. I'm not sure. I say grandma because they were young children in the picture. And then you could see the grandma on the bed, and then you could see the grandma's spirit standing up, and being welcomed by other spirits. And like she was smiling and they were smiling, and I said, oh wow, like we're sad because she's leaving us, but then they're happy because they're embracing her and welcoming her. So my cousin said, this is how I love to remember grandma, you know, and it just like touched me. And I even said, oh my God, I had this experience, and I told her. And she was like, yeah, she visits you, I'm sure she was with you. But it was very emotional, and yeah, I just wanted to show you to share that. So grief has many stages, many different phases, and it comes up in many different things in our lives. So let's see what we were grieving and what we're welcoming. Okay, so let's make this an amazing one. Like I always say, let's make it a productive one, but let's make it an amazing one. Okay, so Happy New Year, and have an amazing day. I know I went over, which I think in the future ones I might extend it to like 15 minutes, or between 10 and 15 minutes, just so I don't feel so rushed into what I want to say or what I have to say. So that's it. Have a great day, and talk to you next time. All right, let's make it a productive one, and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.